but you don't have any value for this broker either. Because you already know what you want. Why should you then hire this broker?
Do I? Do I really know what I want? Maybe the broker can give me more options.
Do you want somebody to confuse you?
I would want someone to give me more value for money.
Correct. My expertise lies in one place. I am a community expert for a place called the Dubai Hills Estate. Do you know that it's supremely popular? Of course, we know about Palm and Marina, but the Dubai Hills Estate, it is like, I'm in love with that place.
So Mamtu Mirchandani, I am meeting you after so long. I've known you for, I think, when dinosaurs were roaming Earth.
We met maybe 13 years ago.
13 years ago. Wow, that's
2010.
Yeah, you wouldn't know because we met at an interview.
Yes, we did. An interview that I failed and...
We failed.
We failed,
Mm-hmm.
yes. Which is unfortunate that you didn't try again, because I think you would have been excellent flight attendant and you would have been a purser by now. I would have still been an FG1. Well, for people who don't understand, first class flight attendant for Emirates Airlines.
But I have no regrets. I'm enjoying what I do right now. Although, yeah, that would have been an experience.
I think I would have truly regretted not being there. I mean, I don't regret anything in life, but you know how I think that was something that I really badly wanted. I wouldn't have been the person that I am, and like I wouldn't have been this. Some part of me, yes, but I wouldn't be so knowledgeable. I wouldn't be able to speak, even though I'm speaking English. Speaking English to different people and different nationalities is difficult. You know how everybody has these heavy accents, and to be able to adjust. You know, sometimes Americans are chatting and an Australian may not understand their jokes, and or a Britisher is talking and another Indian, anybody who understands English. There's so many slangs, there are so many inside jokes that wouldn't be understood. And I don't think so. I would have understood if I would have just stayed in India, or if I wasn't a flight attendant and I had not worked with 192 nationalities.
I know banter and jokes can be subjective. It's like only a very few people can understand if they know the context to what they're speaking.
Yeah. Like, no, I am grateful. It was the best 9.5 years of my life.
You got to travel a lot?
A lot, but I wasn't one of those flight attendants that said, oh, I want to complete 100 countries and I want to fly everywhere. I repeatedly went to the same destinations again and again. I liked those destinations. I liked getting lost in those destinations. If I can tell you about, if you told me, if you were in Rome and you told me, hey, I am at the Treveni steps and I want to go find me a hot chocolate or something, I could, without using a Google map, literally guide you where to go, because I became like a semi-local over there. So this is what I enjoyed. I kept going back to the same places, seeing the same thing again, but seeing something different. You know, like how we watch some movies, especially Christopher Nolan movies, and we're like, every time you watch it, Christopher Nolan movies, every time you watch it, you're like, oh, I missed this. So... I did not complete 100 countries.
But you enjoyed the ones that you went?
Yes, 50 times to UK.
Do you still miss it?
There are a lot of days I miss the traveling part, and you know, this is something that most flight attendants will not agree to, or I don't know. It's an odd thing, but I truly enjoyed meeting the people on flight, meeting the people that I worked with. I mean, this is like, we say this in our interview, but I truly enjoyed it. And that's why I was there for 10 years and would have stayed for another several years. And I'm glad that COVID happened and, you know, I got a kick in my butt and say, okay, move on. Because every year for the 2 years prior to COVID, I tried to make my CV. I tried to look for an alternative job. And every time I spoke to somebody on the outside, nobody seemed to be happy. everybody sounded miserable in their jobs. And I was like, oh, I'm happy, so why would I want to leave? Only because I just never thought that it could be the ultimate career. Like, what do you do when Emirates lets you go at 50, not 65?
That brings us to the real estate.
Yes.
Okay, so right now you're a real estate agent,
Uh-huh.
again, in one of the most coveted cities in the world, which is Dubai, and you help people get homes here.
Yes. So, yes, things that are a innate nature to me, trying to find and get things, that part of real estate, so that part of me being an agent helps people finding homes, etc. That's exciting, but there's so many things to being a real estate agent.
Can we go there then?
Yeah, so okay, COVID happened. Nobody was hiring. In fact, even real estate in Dubai wasn't hiring at all. Because obviously real estate was down, really down. But when I was let go, even before my visa with Emirates and my last day with Emirates was done, they gave us 2 months from the time they let us go. I was already starting to look at places that I could get hired. And obviously, like I said, nobody was hiring. So I reached out to someone. This happened to be a gentleman that had met me on a flight maybe 5 or 6 years before, maybe 7 years before. And he had given me his visiting card. And he said, hey, Mamtu, what are you doing wasting your time being a flight attendant? Come join me in real estate. And I said no to him, but I still held his card and I still, I had him on LinkedIn or something. So I reached out to him. So I researched online, looked up a few things, looked at locations close to home, any agency that I would like. And then I started on LinkedIn adding owners or managers, heads, CEOs or founders of those agencies. And I even tried to ask for phone numbers from whoever that I could get. Now I tried the normal route, tried to apply through LinkedIn, tried to reach out to HR. Hey, would anybody be hiring, etc. And they all said no. Then one agency, it's called Fidu. It's a Chinese-owned agency, but the head of that agency, the man running that agency currently is an Indian gentleman by the name of Nazish Khan. I reached out to the HR first. I asked if they could hire me, and I was flatly refused. Then I found him on LinkedIn, and I reached out to him, and he was responsive. And then, you know what? I was like, okay, he's responsive. Let me get his number. I found his number, and I called him immediately. He was shocked. He's like, how did you get my number? It's like, that doesn't matter. And I told him, was he willing to give me a meeting, etc.? And I coerced him into giving me a 20-minute meeting. Somehow the next day, I reached the place. I did another cheeky thing. I added one more gentleman that works right below Nazish Sheikh, just who happened to speak the same language that I do. I just added everybody on LinkedIn, nothing. I didn't know them. I went for the interview. The 20-minute interview lasted an hour. That means I created some impression. At the end of it, the guy, Nazish, ends up saying, no, well, we don't have any time or bandwidth to train you. None of the managers have this. And of course, times weren't good. So what are they going to do? And I was like, okay. Now what happened is just before I went in for the interview, the other gentleman that I had just added on LinkedIn a day before, I saw him. I waved to him. I said, hey. And he's like, yeah, do I know you? I was like, I sent you a LinkedIn request. You haven't accepted it. And he's like, oh, okay. And then I told him I'm going for an interview. When I went in for the interview, I told the CEO, I know the guy outside. And they were like, oh, you do? Let me ask him if he's willing to train you. And now the guy outside thinks, oh, maybe Nazish knows me. And somehow I joined the agency in 2 days, and this gentleman was willing to train me. He was my first manager, and hats off to him.
That's nice.
Yeah. So again,
But did he know that you don't know them?
yes, I did tell them.
Okay.
I did tell them. Like, see, I don't lie. I did not lie. I'm just what you don't know, or, where you can just smile and get away with, and you think whatever you think, that's how we're going to go or roll with it.
Okay.
So yeah, again, after trying so hard for Emirates and failing and then eventually getting it, again, trying for real estate, and they saying that, well, they don't hire new people, etc. In fact, after I left the agency, Fidu, they started a new policy. So before me, they never hired a fresher. I was the first brand new agent they hired. And after me, they started a policy of hiring new people because they saw that I was really, really worth it. In fact, 2 months after I joined, the real estate was doing so badly that 40% of the staff was let go. And again, I have to thank the people above me who recommended that, they see a lot of potential in me and they let me stay.
And now you're not with them.
No, I'm not with them.
Why did you leave, if you don't mind me asking?
I just didn't get along with some people out there. So, and also I was repeatedly told that I have certain potential. Maybe I should go out and explore that. Was that the best advice? I can't say, because when I did leave Fidu and I did go to the next agency, I learned a lot. Again, so much. And there are every agency that I've been with now, I'm with my third agency. I'm learning different things. And I don't think so I would have learned all this much if I had stayed only in one place. Real estate is so different, and every agency manages it differently. Every agency treats you differently. In some ways, it's a good thing that I left, and in some ways, I do miss my first real estate agency, like the comfort of that being the agency that I joined first.
Now you're with Hamptons.
Hamptons, yes. Hamptons International is a franchise brand name. It's there in hundreds of cities across the world. It's a UK brand. And it's a subsidiary of Emaar.
Okay.
Yeah. So there are a lot of perks being in Hamptons. There's a specific, there are certain perks for which I joined this agency.
Okay.
I don't think so I can divulge that.
No, don't have to. Well done. How is it being a real estate agent? Because everybody's a real estate agent right now.
Don't get me started on that. And this is so amusing, right? Every day there are agents posting and promoting that more and more agents should come in and join the community. And every day there are engineers and doctors from around the world who are probably not doing so well in their countries are coming here and becoming realtors, and then maybe selling one or two, or making quick money by selling one or two deals, and thinking, oh my God, this is amazing. I'm not saying that this is not possible. It's absolutely possible. But and everybody's looking for, every agency I know is looking to hire more and more and more real estate agents. But the thing is, the answer is not in quantity, it's in quality. But I guess there is no way to find the quality till you don't go through hundreds and hundreds of agents. So yeah, everybody is a real estate agent. And to anybody who's trying to buy a property in Dubai, you have to be really careful now. You have to do your due diligence, not just on the agency that you're dealing with, and not just the developer, and not just the location that you're buying, but even with the agent that you're buying. Majority of the buyers in the market, I realize, don't even ask the most important thing to their agent, and that is a RERA license, a broker's ID. And more than 40% of the agents in the market are actually dealing without this card. So yeah, somebody will say, oh no, I've been here just a few months in the market, my ID card is getting done. But I mean, it's so easy. It just costs a small amount of money to get a broker's license. But the process, not every agency is allowed to have unlimited number of real estate agents. And to get a real estate visa and to get a real estate license, it's a bit of a task. You have to give an exam, and those are difficult questions. So not everybody has those licenses, and especially people who are just here for 3 to 6 months. They're thinking, okay, 3 months, 6 months, 8 months, we'll make quick money and run off. So I would definitely ask people to ask their agents for this license.
You do write a blog explaining so many things, all things real estate.
I do, not consistently, but I do.
Okay. For the ones who are looking to buy property, what due diligence other than the ones that you just said?
There are two different kind of buyers, the ones that are investors, and then there are ones who are home seekers, home buyers, and they both have to go through different processes and different ways of checking the agent that they're buying from or selling with, etc. Firstly, we are called brokers, and then there are agents. There are agents from developers. So we have multiple developers in Dubai, and they all have their own agents as well. So let's go through. If you are an investor, like buying in an off-plan property, you of course have to, like I said, you will do your due diligence on the developer, right? You will do a little bit due diligence on the area that you're investing in. Not, of course, you're investing in Dubai, but where in Dubai? Is every place in Dubai the best option, or is every developer that you should invest in? No, just because it seems like the brochure is good doesn't mean that it's real. And then, of course, your agent. How long have they been in the market? Do they have a license? Which agency are they working with? How long has this agency been in the market? Because in the last 2 years itself, we've had almost 40% agencies just crop up. So do you want to deal with new agencies and new agents without knowing them, especially if you're new to the market? I would recommend to choose top agencies. Even when it comes to the secondary market, when you're doing your home buying, these are all the things that you have to do. But the other thing, another person that falls into this bracket is your mortgage consultant. Because most of us who are buying ready properties or buying ready homes are usually doing the mortgage process. So instead of just going to your one bank and just trying to ask your bank that you're dealing with, go and find a mortgage consultant. Those consultants, like brokers, don't charge you anything. Like I, most of the time, am not charging anything to the buyer. The developer is also not charging them. I get my fees from the developer. And the same way, mortgage consultants have tie-up with several banks around Dubai, and they get their fees from the banks. So then they will get equal fees no matter which bank they recommend. So they can tell you based on your profile which bank to work with.
If I want to buy a property in Dubai, tell me, other than the steps that you've already mentioned, what do I need?
Tell me if you want to buy an off-plan property or you want to buy a ready property.
Which one's going to work out economical for me?
So many questions. Let's start with the most basic. Are you thinking of moving into this property with your family? Or are you thinking, hey, I'm new to this market. I want to play it safe. I want to try a little. I want to start small. I want to see where it goes before I burn my hands. I just want to, just check this out. So if this was something that you were thinking of, I would say start off plan. Let's say you had to buy a property in the more popular areas, downtown, Palm, or Marina. They can get quite expensive, and maybe you don't want to invest that much, like you're starting really small. So there are lots and lots of areas that you could invest in. Dubai technically is not that large. If you look at the map, UAE may be large, but Dubai is pretty tiny, and we're already filled up. That's why they're having to create extra land in the water. Let's say you choose a decent location, but also choose your developer. Don't only check how they're going to get the property ready, but after sale service is important. Every buyer currently investing forgets this, and I'm seeing so many bad reviews. Like the developers will make great brochures, etc., will make it look amazing, but they will forget that once you buy this property, when you have to sell the property, you require a certificate called a no objection certificate from the developer. Good developers could give it to you in 1 or 2 days. The not so good developer can take 2 months. So if you want to sell your property today, but if your developer doesn't allow you to sell it for 2 months, and your buyer will disappear. So things like this. Has this developer built a property before? And if they have, why don't you go check that property and check how it's being maintained? Because anybody can make a pretty building, but it has to, survive the heat and everything for the next 30, 40 years. Even if you're not invested for 30 years, if you're invested even for the next 5 to 10 years, is the plumbing done all right? Are there any leakage problems? Are they maintaining the garden area or the pool area very well? I'm not gonna name this, but one of the super popular developers in Dubai, and they've built or at least have sold several properties, and they say that they're award winning and they're very popular for pool building, have handed over a building over a year ago with the pool not working. All of these due diligences are important, not just having the money and saying, yeah, I want to buy, oh, it looks great, oh, I just want this size. No. So we'll start off. Choose a good developer in a decent area. It doesn't have to be the best area in Dubai. Reasonable tier 1 area, tier 2 areas, and then there are tier 3 areas. Think of your goal. Are you thinking, I want capital appreciation? That means what you buy when it's ready or in a few years, the price to go up faster? Or would you want to get, even if the capital appreciation isn't too high, when the property is ready, you put it on rent, and for long, long years, it keeps getting you passive income. So those are a few things that you check. Obviously, everybody wants both. Currently, the market is so good that you are being able to manage both. So if you've chosen a decent area, a really good developer, capital appreciation, and both rental income are a sure shot. Some of the really good developers are even giving you guaranteed rental returns of 8 to 9%. So you start off with off plan in terms of how much amount you have, because developers will charge you, let's say we're talking about a property, a 1-bedroom apartment in a really popular area called JVC, Jumeirah Village Circle. And a 1-bedroom could cost anywhere between 800 to 900,000. And most developers take about 3 years to build a building. There are a few developers that are building buildings in just 2 years, 2.5 years as well. And so go to JVC, figure out different developers, see if they've built before, if they're coming from a different country, are they well known in that country, and then look at their payment plans. Usual payment plans currently are that you start off with paying 10% of the property. So if it's 900,000, so you start off with the 10%, basic money that you need to have. And then 4% is DLD fees, that's Dubai Land Department registration fees of this property. You won't be paying commission on an off-plan property. Like I said, this is covered by the developer for your agent. One of the most common things every buyer tells me, why do I need a broker? I can directly go to the developer and get myself the property. Why do I need a broker? I want to ask you this. Why should you hire a broker? Do you know?
Well, the broker knows many instances or scenarios of various things, and if I put out my requirement to the broker, they would consider my choices and what I would want as a priority when compared to a developer, because how would I know? I'm not in that field.
True. But let's say you already know a very good developer and you already know the project you want to buy, right? So you know that this is the townhouse, 3-bedroom with this developer named so-and-so, and I can see the whole cluster map, and those are the ones that I want. Why do you still need a broker?
Well, in this instance, if I'm not paying the broker any brokerage,
Yeah.
then I don't see any harm in that.
But you don't have any value for this broker either, because you already know what you want. Why should you then hire this broker?
Do I really know what I want? Maybe the broker can give me more options.
Do you want somebody to confuse you?
I would want someone to give me more value for money.
Correct. So when a developer agent, as amazing and as, how can I say it? As much as they may seem to show that they're thinking about you, they're paid by the developer and they're on the payroll. They're supposed to meet their numbers. They're thinking of how quickly can I get all the not so good inventory of the developer out. So if everybody walked in and they said, hey, I want the best unit, and you don't know what the best unit is, maybe you do, maybe you don't. If you don't have any experience, you don't. The developer agent will just show you any unit and say, hey, this is the best unit. Buy it. This one will make you the most amount of money. That's why a good experienced broker and his expertise comes in, where he will guide you and tell you why you should invest in a certain unit priced at whatever price. And that's why you require the broker, because he's thinking for you, not for the developer.
Other than the 10%, do I need anything else? Are there any hidden charges? What about the maintenance fees?
So let's say, again, we'll go back to 900,000 for a 1-bedroom apartment in JVC. You need your initial 10%. So if it's just to make life easier, we'll say 1 million dirhams.
Okay.
So 1 million dirhams, you need 10%. You need 4% Dubai Land Department fees. You do not need to pay commission if it's an off-plan property. Some developers will charge you anywhere between 2,500 to 5,000 dirhams for administrative fees, which is all legal. They'll give you a receipt for this as well. This is your initial. And then you have to look at the payment plan. Most payment plans are anywhere between 3 to 6 months. So depending on your pocket, you go through the payment plan and see if this is something that you can pay for. Some people some people can't get a mortgage, but buy a property that is fairly priced, where if both husband and wife took personal loans, maybe they have low interest rates on personal loan or reasonable interest on personal loans, and buying an off-plan property together and paying for it. So this is an option.
Okay, so you said off-plan doesn't have commissions.
No.
So what does have commission?
Secondary market or ready properties.
Let's speak about that then.
We'll go with step 1 as a buyer that you need. If you're a cash buyer, like you have cash, which I mean you have money in your account and you're going to pay it upfront, you don't need a banker at all, or you don't need to apply for loans, great. Whatever amount you have, let's start looking for the property. Go on all the amazing portals that you have online with properties listed. think of the area where you would like to live in terms of which is close to your work, which is close to your kids' school, which is close to places that you usually visit. And in terms of if that area provides in your price point the size of the property that you're looking for. If you are a mortgage or a loan buyer, that's the first step that you do. Before you speak to your agent, you speak to your mortgage consultant. And for some reason, if you can't find a mortgage consultant, speak to any agent. They'll be able to guide you to several mortgage consultants, because mortgage consultants and secondary market agents always work together. The mortgage consultant will ask you for certain paperwork. You require anywhere between 15 to 24% of the total value as money saved up to be able to afford a property. Depending on how quick you are, you will get the pre-approval, which is the bank will say, after looking at your numbers, we will allow you, or we will be happily loaning you this amount towards the property that you buy. That document has a validity, about 45 days. Based on that document, you start hunting for your property. Why do you do this before? You're going to be like, oh my God, I can't find a property in 5 days. And then if this document expires, what? If this document expires, nothing. You wait for a little bit longer, you reapply. But the reason this is necessary is because you might think that you have a certain amount that you can spend towards buying a property. But when you actually go through the banking process, you realize this number has reduced. Or in some cases, you might actually see that this number has increased. So where you were trying to find a property worth 1 million dirhams, if you can afford a property worth 1.4 million dirhams, that helps you go from a 1-bedroom to a 2-bedroom. So why not? Right? So this is the first step.
The instance where the price reduce or increase would be?
It's not only dependent on the money that you've saved up into your bank account. It depends on who your employer is, your credit history. Like, have you been using a credit card in Dubai? And if you haven't been, actually that's a bad thing, because banks want to know you are used to using, well, credit card is technically a 1-month loan, right? You're loaning. Have you been using a credit card for several years, taking money from the bank every month and paying it every month without fail? So once they know that you've done things like this, it's easier for the bank to judge you. So the bank looks at these and several other things, and based on that, they realize, okay, we can afford to give this gentleman more money. He's working for a really good company. It falls into the top bracket of all the agencies, the companies that we have, less likely to lose their job. That means, okay, fine, let's give him a higher loan. So this is important.
The other charges like maintenance, all of that, how much would that come up to?
Every developer, depending on how many amenities they provide, the service charges increases. That's another thing, right? When you're buying a property, you're like, oh my God, this building has 2 pools, kids play area, it has barbecue area, gyms, sauna, steam room. Oh my God, who's going to be paying the service charges for this? You. So service charges for buildings are much higher as compared to townhouses and villas, because townhouses and villas you are maintaining that building completely on your own, the plot area on your own. So let me tell you, townhouses, villas, you pay 3 to 4, maybe 5 dirhams per square foot, versus an apartment, you pay anywhere between 12 to 60 dirhams per square foot.
Wow, okay.
Depending on what kind of building you're investing in, right? You could have the most amazing mansion, and whatever is done inside that mansion is your responsibility. But whatever is being done in the building, you're paying for it because it's being maintained by the building. So those are the extra service charges that you pay. My expertise lies in one place, I am a community expert for a place called Dubai Hills Estate. Do you know that it's supremely popular? Of course, we know about Palm and Marina, but Dubai Hills Estate, it is like I'm in love with that place.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you why. It is the largest community by a developer and by Emaar, which is the best developer in Dubai, hands down. 2,400 acres. That's huge. It consists of your 18-hole golf course championship, right? It's the only community to have its own hospital, King's College London. It has three schools, 3 different types of GEM school and King's Al Barsha school within its territory. It's the only community to have its own mall. And I'm not going to say that downtown is not a community, but a full-fledged community with villas and mansions. So you can buy there like a 1-bedroom apartment, a 2-bedroom apartment, which could cost you just about 1 million dirhams. Or you could even buy there a 200 million dirham mansion. This community has it all. Schools, hospitals, large mall, golf course. Camel track?
Do they have a camel track?
Right outside, there's an amazing camel track where we see camels passing by on a regular basis. It's 15 minutes to downtown, 20 minutes to the current airport in Dubai, 15 minutes to any beach in Dubai, the nearest beach, 15 minutes to Marina. This community, I would call it, is the heart of Dubai. Because you could get anywhere in a short period of time. It's got 12 roads connecting to it, to all its exits. It's fantastic. It's really well located. And I specifically work here because I love this place. And I let people buy their homes in this location passionately. The next time also, if you go there, there's a building right in front, which is just recently handed over. It's called Golf Suites. Mm-hmm. It's got about 210 apartments. It's recently handed over. That means people had bought it, investors when it was not ready. Now it's ready. People are getting the keys. So this is the stage where a lot of the people who own this property either are selling it at a profit or deciding to keep it and renting it out. And it's got gorgeous, gorgeous views of the golf course and the Burj Khalifa skyline, which I, as an agent, always have to mention, because if you go anywhere in Dubai and if your property, you can see the Burj Khalifa, you have to point it out. And I have been working a lot on this building.
So your advice to first-time home buyers?
The advice that I would like to give to first-time home buyers, specifically to UAE buyers, Dubai buyers, is that this may be your first home, but this is not going to be your last home. A lot of the new buyers that I see spend months and months and sometimes even an entire year finding that perfect home. And if you'll speak to anybody who's been in Dubai, at least a lot of the time, even when you're renting, you haven't lived in the same place for a long time. People move, right, based on their needs. You've been here for a very long time, Carlton. You've gotten married, and before that you lived differently after you got married, and then after you had your baby. So first-time home buyers, don't look at it as this is your final home. Depending on what age you're buying, you could be upgrading when you get married, when you have a child, or maybe when you have children. And then this is another thing that people forget to see and envision for their future, which happens a lot to UAE or Dubai expats. They know that their kids in 16 to 17 age are going to go back to their countries, maybe to UK, Europe, or other countries to study sometimes. Some schools are great here. Universities are getting better. But a lot of them prefer to send their kids abroad still. So your kids are going to move out. So if you're trying to look for a 5-bedroom house for you, and you know your kids are going to move out in 5 years, it doesn't make sense. I've seen this happen a lot. So when you're looking for that first home, don't get too picky. Don't want or expect everything from that first home or even your second home. That's it.
For first-time investors, what would your advice be?
Investors sometimes get confused when they're buying, and especially the first-time investors. They start looking at the property as though they're going to live in it, which is wrong. You are an investor. Think about it as something that's going to make you money. We live in a country with so many nationalities. You may have come living in a country in a townhome or a big country house. And then when you're trying to invest in a 1-bedroom apartment, you can't imagine who would want to live in such a tiny apartment because you can't imagine that. Let your agent help you out and tell you, yes, there are people in cities around the world, in Europe, that live in tiny apartments and they're super happy. So investors always make these mistakes where they start thinking, oh, I couldn't live here. But nobody's asking you to. You are an investor. This thing is going to make you money. Believe your agent.
The best places to invest in at the moment?
Dubai Hills.
Dubai Hills, okay.
Of course, it would be in the top tier locations, depending on the price point that you have. Dubai Hills, like I said, anywhere from 1 million onwards. And I would say every person investing in Dubai can blindly invest in Emaar.
Okay.
You know how I can say that? Because even the banks blindly trust Emaar. You know why? If you decided, I told you, right? If you had to get a mortgage, you had to get it on a ready property. Banks are willing to offer you 50% mortgage on off-plan properties, but only by one developer. That's Emaar. Imagine that. So trust in Emaar. Most of the locations that they have developed are the top locations in UAE. They're amazing at not just developing, community building. They're excellent at after-sales service. They have excellent customer happiness service centers in UAE as well. So Dubai Hills, Dubai Creek Harbor, and then I would say for some investors who are not so keen on investing on a property that is off plan, which is not ready, because a lot of people say, no, I want to buy what is ready. I want to see it from my own eyes. The next thing that you can invest in is older properties, like not the brand new. Buy in a good location with a nice developer. Earlier, the sizes that were built were really nice and huge. Developers aren't making those sizes now. They used to make closed kitchens earlier. They aren't making those now. So go a little older. Go into an older building, get a nice big apartment, spend a little money over there, refurbish it, and then rent it out or sell it or something like this. That's a fantastic idea if you have the money upfront to invest on a ready property.
Okay, so if anyone wants to reach out to you to speak about anything, any property in Dubai, especially the Dubai Hills, what is the best way?
So they could get onto my Instagram. That would be Mamtu, MAMTU .Mirchandani. That's MIRCHANDANI. My number's there. I'm very active on my social media. I also have my own website, mamtumirchandani.com, where I do post some blogs, and they could reach out to me over there as well.